Hello, this video will show you how to import data using Python. And this is going to be at a more advanced level. Okay, let's go ahead and get started then. So the data that I'm going to be importing into Python is going to be the mapping Medicare disparities data. This is found at the data.cms.gov website here. And in particular, I am going to be obtaining information about the prevalence of 5 chronic conditions, and I'm going to do that by race and for each county in the United States. Okay, and that data is available here at this website. Now this file is actually a zipped file, so I'm going to need to do some processing before I'm able to read that data in. Okay, so let's go over to the Python script and just have a quick discussion about what needs to be done. So I need to have my Python script go out to that website and download that zipped file. I then will need to have my script unzip that file so that I can obtain the contents of that zipped file. And in particular, I am going to be obtaining the chronic diseases at the county level in the United States. I want to automatically remove the header information from that file. So there'll be, as we'll see, some header information there. I want to replace all the star characters with the more common NaN, which will be used to represent missingness in this data. NaN is the common way that missing values are represented inside of Python. I also only want counties that are in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So I want to remove or delete all other counties in the United States. And finally, I want to just read this into Python and do so that I could do further analysis with this data. So my first step here is to just download the data. And I have created a very small bash script to do that. So let's go ahead and execute that code chunk by just clicking the arrow. Now I want to actually run that script, and this is going to go out and grab that data from the internet and put it onto this session of Google Colab. Okay, so this is just showing me the process of downloading that data. If I do a refresh over here, you will see that that data has indeed been downloaded here. Now the next step is to unzip that information. So let's go ahead, create another real small script to unzip that file, and then do the unzipping. And if I'm paying attention to what's happening over here, we can see that the contents of this zipped file has been revealed. And the data that I will be using here will be the population report county.txt. So this is the county level data that I was talking about here. If you want to see the first few rows of that, let's go ahead and if we want to see the first few rows of that, we can do this here. And notice that again, as we saw before, that the top of this file has some header information that is not going to be needed when I want to work with this data. Some of this information is important. For example, they're telling me here that the star is indicating insufficient data. So the next step is to remove this header information, which I will do that here with this code. Take a look at that file again, and we can see that that header information has been taken out now. Notice that I still have these stars in place here. So step 4 is to remove those stars and replace them with the NaN, which again is used to denote missingness in Python. So let's go ahead and do that step. Make sure that has happened correctly. So you can see indeed that the stars that were in this earlier version of this file now have been removed and replaced with the NaN values. And that is being done in the entire data set, so for all of the counties throughout the entire United States. Okay, this step 5 then is to obtain only the information for Minnesota and Wisconsin. I also want to keep this top row because those are my field names. So I want to keep that when I do this excluding of all of the other counties except those found in Minnesota and Wisconsin. So we'll go ahead and do that here. With that code, and then we'll look at that file again, and you will see that all of the rows in this data frame, okay, are either from Minnesota or Wisconsin. Okay, now what I need to do is read this data into Python, and I could do some simple summaries on that data after that data is read in. So here are the steps here. I am using a pandas package, it's called. That's a common package to work with data inside of Python. Next, I'm going to read that table data in. I am specifying that I'm using a tab delimited here. So this SCP is just my delimiter or my separator. So we'll read that data in. Let's go ahead and look at the first 5 records of that data. So here you can see that I have information again about Minnesota, and then down below would be information about Wisconsin, all the Wisconsin counties as well. There's a common package in Python called dfply that makes working with data a lot easier. So I will install that package, load that package, and then here's a real simple script that is going to create some simple averages for me of the prevalence. And this is going to do that for those different chronic conditions and by each state. So let's go ahead and run that code chunk and see what information is gained by doing that. So here, when we're talking about chronic kidney disease, the prevalence in Minnesota is at about 21%. Wisconsin is slightly higher at 22%. If I'm worried about the prevalence of diabetes, those comparisons can be here. We can see that the prevalence of hypertension or high blood pressure is certainly higher than the other conditions. Again, with Wisconsin being slightly higher than Minnesota. Okay, so that does it for an advanced level of importing data using Python. Thank you. Have a good day.